Hey, welcome back to Grandma's Chair. Today we'll look at r/JustnoMIL. The first video is about a crazy Mil who tells the OP's kids that their mother and father died. I am seething. I am still seeing red. I cannot believe she would do something like this. DH is so mad at Mil. I've posted here a few times before, but a little background: DH is 30, I am 28. We have a 9YO DS and 4YO triplet girls. We both always wanted a big family, but the traumatic birth of the triplets took a toll on me. Recently we brought up the thought of more children with Mil, and she basically announced a pregnancy to the kids, and then claimed that I must be having fertility issues. Seriously, lady. I mean, sure, it's possible, but I had spontaneously conceived triplets. Not long after that, a close friend of DH's passed away in a car accident. Obviously it was very unexpected. Friend and his wife live 2 states away, so it required a bit of traveling. We went to help friend's wife, FW, pretty soon after we heard, and stayed for the funeral, and a few days after. Due to the fact it was quite unexpected, Mil took the kids for us. Initially it didn't seem like a bad idea. Bill and Sil would be there for 1 week visiting Mil with their 2 kiddos, 6 and 3, and then Ale would be there. Ale is very just eyes. She dotes on the kiddos and was one of the few to come by and actually help when I had newborn triplets. Before we went, I had to clear things with Mil. I didn't want her taking anything out on our kiddos while we were gone, and she was the only option to take care of them for that long. I explained that I was hurt because she knew how traumatic the birth of the trips was, and how it was scary for all of us. She was terrified too, came in white as a ghost to see me after the girls were born, and cried hugging me saying she was so glad I was okay, that we were all okay. She did, however, lose her mother to childbirth. She apologized for everything, said she had no idea and was acting selfishly. She said the idea of a baby just got to her head and then she didn't want to be wrong, so she just made something up. She said she knows how wrong it was. Anyway, we drop DS and the girls off, give them hugs and kisses, tell them we love them, and leave. The first few days are great. Mil sends us updates, the kids are playing with their cousins, all is well. Bill and Sil leave 5 days early. Turns out, BIL's sister lives kind of close by, and they hadn't seen her in years. She was also swamped with her 2YO DS and newborn, so they went to help her out. That leaves Mil with our kiddos for 5 days without anyone else. I don't hear anything from Mil for a week, besides the usual. The kids are doing great stuff. The mood at FW's place was pretty somber, so even hearing that was enough to brighten my day a bit, and I didn't think much of it. 3 days before we are about to come home, Ale calls me, absolutely furious. She can't even describe what had happened, and just said I had to Skype her right then and there. Guys, when I Skyped her, she was sitting in her car pulled over on the highway with the kiddos in the seats. My kids were red-faced and teary-eyed. DD has a small rash under her eyes from crying so much and rubbing her eyes. DS hasn't let go of me or DH dice. We came back. After BIL and SIL left, Mil decided to tell the kiddos that we had passed away. She didn't go into details, just told them that they would be staying with them forever because DH and I had passed away and wouldn't be coming home. When Ale came, the kids were still mostly upset. Mil blamed it on them missing us, which they agreed to because they thought we were dead. A few days later, Ale figures out what actually happened, tells the kiddos we are fine, and takes them from the house, and Skypes me where I find all of this out. We agreed that she'd take the kids for the last few days. I told DH, and let him know that we would be cutting his mother out, or we would be getting a divorce. He's in full agreement on cutting her out. The kiddos are doing alright. DS hasn't let go of DH or I since we picked them up. My heart is breaking underneath this seething rage I have. I want to hurt her, like she hurt my children. I want her to suffer. Any advice on how to cut her out would be amazing. We are already looking at places to move closer to FW, actually, who is my friend anyway, and plan on not telling Mil at all. She'll find out eventually, but not where we are living. I also have no idea how to explain to the kids that Grandma won't be around anymore. I don't want them to assume she's passed away too. This is a mess. I am so angry. I am so heartbroken. My poor, sensitive DS, and my sweet little girls must have been so devastated. I just want to cuddle with them. This next story is titled, The White Dress. This story is about my friend's Mil, and her wedding. Strap in guys, this is a wild ride in which I did the thing that got me banned from any of her family functions. Plus a few threats of dismemberment and bodily harm. A good friend of mine from university was getting married. They had been a couple since junior year of college, through her 2 years in the Peace Corps and currently her return to this continent. 6 years in total. She had been to all manner of family functions and always came back with a strange story about how she thinks her Mil secretly hates her. But she, being a very quiet and sweet person, pushed those thoughts aside. Point 1. She is vegetarian and Jewish, husband is not. She was invited and went to Christmas dinner and figured she would just eat sides, as well she brought a vegetarian casserole. Mil, after knowing her for 3 years, and being told by husband a few weeks before about not to forget friend doesn't eat meat, proceeded to put meat in every dish. Friend drank water and ate her casserole the whole night while Mil cried to everyone that friend was so rude for not eating her cooking. Anyway, back to the story. A few friends and I were asked to be in the wedding. Friend has a huge family and so this was not going to be a small affair. Neither of them is particularly religious, but friend said it would be nice to be married under a hoopah. Think an arbor but 4 poles and covered with a white cloth and lots of flowers. Husband said he could care less, and told her to go and rent one for the wedding. I was at the bridal shower when Mil found out the pretty canopy was actually a hoopah. She almost lost her poop in front of a bunch of people, but managed to compose herself and laugh angrily that, if the Jews were being represented so would the Catholics. In my head I heard a record screech, guys, they aren't Catholic. So after much fighting, a lot of screaming, crying, threatening to pull money, which is funny because she contributed nothing, Mil lost. The boot was firmly placed, and nothing was moving it. Hoopah yes, Catholic priest no. Things got stupid quiet. My friend texts me the night before the wedding that she has a bad feeling. I tell her it's probably just nerves, she is getting married and this is a big deal. Oh how wrong I was. We all show up, get our hair and makeup done. Slip into our bridesmaid dresses and hang out waiting for the bride to be finished with her hair. She makes a comment saying she hadn't seen Mil all day and that she skipped her hair and makeup appointment. We all side-eyed each other, took a few sips of wine and hoped the eerie feeling would go away. 30 minutes later as we are helping the bride into her dress, guess who shows up? If you guessed Mil, you win a cookie. Flushed from coming up the stairs, she is not a light woman, in full hair and makeup, and a white dress. Not ivory, not cream, full snow ducking white. The dress was clearly a wedding dress, it was even from David's bridal, which she would later shout at me. Floor-length satin with a sweetheart beaded top, a bit of a train and off-white lace on the bottom. The dress was even tailored to her. This has been a long con she has orchestrated. The bride burst into tears and aunts and friends ushered Mil out. We did our best to console the bride, touched up her makeup, and I made her a promise that the dress would never be seen in a photo. She looked me dead in the eye and nodded. The game was on. The venue only supplied white wine and champagne for the wedding party. But I grabbed my purse and ran down into the reception area and managed to flag an attendant by the bar and bribe him with a cool $20 to give me a bottle of red early. I cracked the baby open, filled a solo cup to the brim with it and stalked outside. After a few swigs from the bottle for courage, I went over to where everyone was getting ready to take photos. With one last hard stare at my friend, I got her nod of approval. I pulled out my phone, held it in front of my face like I was reading a text and walked straight into Mil. I poured the entire cup of red wine down the front of her dress, jumped back and gasped. The look on her face was murderous. She screamed, yelled, threatened, and promised she would sue me. People had to hold her back because she wanted to fight me. Eventually she switched from screaming to sobbing and sank to the ground and threw a tantrum on the floor. Everyone moved back and just let her go at it and walked away to go take photos. It was surreal, as if everyone just hit their limit and knocked out from around her. The 12-year-old flower girl whipped out her phone and snapped a few photos much to our amusement. This is already super long, but I will say that Mil went home and changed only 20 minutes from venue into a nice dark green too small and low-cut dress. Because of this she missed all of the photos. Wedding was beautiful. I got death glares from everyone. She told that I attacked her with wine. No ducks were given as I drank and danced with friends. bride thanked me in secret and 3 months later took me to the spa for a day of pampering. But I am officially that mean lady to Mil, and I'll take it with pride. This next story is a funny bait and switch story, and its title is Christmas Decoration Bait and Switch. Quote, "A little background. My husband and I have this board hanging on our wall. It's a list of all the things we want and need, how much it will cost, how much we saved for it, and when we should be able to have it. It has things like new fridge, dishwasher, nice knife set, wish list items, etc. I even include pictures, model numbers, or other specific descriptions for a lot of these items. I'm very proud of it. My father and his wife come to visit on a semi-regular basis. SMOM always makes sure to look at my board, comment on it, and express her sadness that we are unable to afford the stuff. Within a week or so she will buy one of the exact things on my board, edit, for herself. Sometimes it's a smaller item like the coffee maker, other times it's larger item, like a motorized toy car for her children. Her buying these things isn't really what bugs me is her rubbing it in my face that she was able to get it first, or how I was copying her when I do finally get the item. It's super annoying and childish. Anyway, I was walking through a local store's Christmas section right after Thanksgiving. I was looking for board ideas and happened upon a giant, ugly IMO, super pricey outdoor Christmas decorations set. Which gave me an idea. It was definitely not SMOM's style. But hey, why not try? When I got home I put the set on the high priority section of my board. Going as far to erase the money I had pulled for other things and move it to this Christmas monstrosity so we could buy it sooner. I was hoping this trap would be tempting enough for SMOM, especially if I made this set seem super important. A couple days after that my father and SMOM visit. SMOM looks at my board and asks about the set. I gush over it, describing it as the way to make my Christmas dreams come true. I love Christmas honestly. I really lay it on thick. On Monday we go to visit my dad at SMOM's request. Sure as poop, she bought and put up the entire set. It's ugly and over the top. I hate it. It's hilarious. Immediately she dives into describing why she just fell in love with it, and how she had to have it. Making a huge deal on every little piece and how it was so worth the money. Finally she concludes her gloat fest with telling me that I really do have great taste and sorry she beat me to it. Oh, I don't actually like the set. I just put it on the board and said I liked it to mess with husband. He hates the over-the-top stuff like this crap. Glad you love it though, I tell her. If her smile fell any harder it would have fallen right off her face. The rest of the visit she was didn't say much. She looked like a kid who got coal for Christmas. My dad kept asking her what was wrong and got a lot of, "I'm fine," and then finally she got a headache and went to bed early. She now refuses to talk to me, none of her usual texts or calls. Best Christmas ever. I would like to add. She put up the decorations on a Facebook cell group this morning for pickup after Christmas. So yeah, definitely best Christmas ever. This next story is about a lying Mil. I'm bi, but I'm in love with my male fiancé. My Mil, having known about the bi thing since before we got together, is convinced I'll cheat on him with a woman, despite us being together for 3 years and me not so much as looking at another person in this time. About a month ago I met his cousin, a straight woman with a boyfriend, and you know when you meet someone and you immediately know you'll be friends. It was like that. We've seen each other twice since the initial meeting, one with fiancé there and then the other day when we went shopping and got coffee without him. She took a picture of the two of us sat on opposite sides of a table at Starbucks, posted it on the Book of Faces, and tagged me. We were sitting opposite each other, weren't touching, we weren't even looking at each other in the picture. Tonight my fiancé then shows me a message from his mother, "Honey, I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you this but you have a right to know. My name has been unfaithful, and has betrayed you in the worst of ways. If you need me I'm here." Then she sent the photo of me and the cousin. She tried to tell my fiancé that I am cheating on him with his straight, committed, female cousin. He replied with 3 cry-laughing emojis and a reminder that the woman was his cousin, on his father's side, parents divorced so she might genuinely not have known. Instead of bowing out graciously with what little was left of her dignity, she then doubled down, saying, "I didn't want to have to do this but here," and then sent him a photo of me with an older blonde woman who she has never met. This woman was, drum roll please, my half-sister. My fiancé thinks this is the funniest thing in the world and I have to agree. Not the first time she's done something like this, but definitely the funniest. Fiancé says jury's out on whether he's inviting her to the wedding or not because, like I said, this isn't the first time she's done something like this.